The C.J. Howard Show. Now let's go to C.J. Howard. Hello everybody. Good Sunday evening to you, and welcome to another episode of the C.J. Howard Show. This is one of the final two shows of season number 2, as this is episode number 30. We are live from my home here in Barberville, Kentucky. You can see us live on the Facebook, live on the YouTube, live on the D&D Sports Network. Also, you can see us on my Facebook page, the C.J. Howard Show Facebook page. You can go over and check that out. You can also watch the show from there. Or if you'd like to call us, we'll try to take your phone call, 1-346-314-0906. We'll try to do that as well. We've got a really great guest list and got a phenomenal co-host. It is untelling what will be said here tonight, but what will be said could be monumental or it could be off the chart. So just hang on and just hold on tight. Here in about 10 minutes, we're going to have Bobby Ratliff with us, the head softball coach of the Perry County Central Lady Commodores. They got a monster win yesterday in regional play, beating probably what everybody calls the number 1 team in Estill County on their home field yesterday, a 4-1 victory. We'll talk to Bobby about that and his team. 8:30, we'll hear from Wallace Bates, former girls basketball coach. He coached at Jackson City, Breathitt County. He left to be an administrator at Greene County and a couple other places. He's also had some military stuff that he was doing. He's now the new principal at Powell County High School. We're going to talk to Wallace Bates at 8:30. Then we're going to have the state championship coach with us. Nathan got to be courtside of the championship game. Done the game when Josh Cook and the George Rogers Clark Cardinals won the state title. We will hear from the state champion coach tonight here at 9 o'clock. And then we'll hear from Courtney Brewer for the first time in about probably since the All-A. John was going to be out of town, so there was a great opportunity to get Courtney get her back on the show and get her thoughts and comments. My co-host tonight, you know him well. He dabbles in a lot of things. He dabbles in radio. He dabbles in wrestling. He dabbles. He does it all. He's the communications person at Perry Central. With me tonight, Nathan Little. Nathan, it's an honor to have you as my co-host. But you've been a busy man here lately.
Yeah, so busy this week. I was also diagnosed with adult ADHD too. So that's not a joke. This is real. But one of the like side effect. I don't know if it'd be a side effect, but the doctor I was talking to was like, a lot of people who deal with this just they stay so antsy. They just keep themselves so busy. So they've always got something to do. So it could be. Maybe now that I'm medicated for it, CJ, I'll start calming down a little bit. I know my wife will appreciate that, but I don't know, my adoring fans out there on Facebook, they can't get enough, CJ. They can't get enough. I just want to know how long you got to do this before you get a 10-second countdown like you get before you come on the air. What do I got to do to get that?
Well, you were getting your phone, so I thought it'd just be a perfect opportunity to go ahead and start the show. Because I thought you're one of those that, you don't need a countdown.
I need a countdown. I don't need one, but I want one.
How many times in radio have you been caught off guard and they say take it and you just I didn't get that 10-second thing and you had to take it.
Yeah, I've been there, done that. It's almost as bad as when you say, "All right, guys, I'm gonna be right back on the East Kentucky Sports Network," and they never tell you that you're clear, so you're sitting here like,
"Yep," because you don't know. You can't say. You say something, it's going to be all over the air. People's going to hear it, and it's I know you're feeling. Yep.
Like, and eventually I'll just say, "Hey, are we off? Are we up?" Oh yeah, you're off. So, but either way, been a wild year on the radio. We had 2 guys on the radio this year that had a elected to run for office, and they had to come off the radio for a little bit. So that meant that me and Dwayne were absolutely run ragged for a while there. But it was fun. It was fun. It was a game every night. It felt like there was a lot of games, a lot of weeks where we did six games, and there's okay. Okay, I'll shut up. Drink some Dr. Pepper. I got you.
I'm sorry.
I got you.
Ryan, go ahead. You're on the CJ Howard Show. I'm doing well. Yeah, well, I actually heard it ring for once, so that was something new. I don't usually get to hear it ring because sometimes I don't hear it ring. I don't know they're calling me, so I got lucky there. What's on your mind? No, I think pretty much what we've seen so far is what we've seen. I think softball, baseball, both are about even. Yesterday, great win for Prairie Central. We're going to talk to Bobby here in just a few minutes about that. Good win. You go to Estill County and beat them over there. That's a huge win. Baseball, I think Prairie Central's got the best team. They did have a tough game yesterday at home with Letcher Central. Letcher Central's a team that's up and down. I think pretty good baseball team. They're really good defensively. Can they hit the baseball? Who's the next best team after Prairie Central? Is it Hazard? Is it Breathitt? I've seen everybody play, Ryan. My opinion, I think it's Prairie Central, and then after that, I think it's Hazard, and then Breathitt, and then anybody else. We got some teams, two or three teams that are young. Knott County's got a young baseball team. There's some other teams that are real young. So it's just a battle for who's going to stay healthy and who's going to be able to get through it. Well, we got North Laurel really playing really well with the 13th in baseball. Softball over there, there's about 4 or 5 teams over there playing real. Whitley County's been playing pretty solid. So is North. I think Clay County's pretty decent. In the 15th, I think, Shelby Valley's pretty good. It's pretty solid. Lawrence County's pretty solid. Baseball over in the 15th. Lawrence County's probably a better team over Paintsville, Pikeville. We was talking to one of the Breath County players other night when we played them, and he said he pitched against Paintsville, or not Paintsville, Lawrence County, I believe it was, and they got a Division I outfielder, and he hit one about 900 feet. So there's some really good talent over there. So, Ryan, baseball's in full swing, softball's in full swing. I know WSGS is going to be hitting the diamond here pretty soon. Don't know when that'll be. I would guess maybe the next week or two we'll see them out at either a Hazard or Prairie Central game. Also, I think you'll be seeing some highlights on WYMT very soon. So get out, support your local baseball or softball team. Yeah, there's solid baseball all over the mountains, even in the 16th round. So it's going to be a battle for who's going to make it to Lexington this year. Because of course the baseball state championships are at the new UK baseball field there. So that's going to be a new, different look for everybody. All right, Ryan. We'll see you on Tuesday. All right, bye. Ryan Farmer calling us from Wesley County. Nathan, he's talking about baseball there. I know he's listening. You can listen to us.
I couldn't hear anything he said.
My wife is trying to call me. Hold on. You take over.
All right, guys. As CJ talks to his wife here, we're going to pretend what he says. She's saying, "Hey, CJ, come in here and watch WrestleMania right now."
I'm on the show.
I'm on the show.
I'm live.
He's live. Get off here. I don't have time for WrestleMania.
I love you.
This is incredible. This is incredible television, folks.
All right.
I'm just glad to be a part of it.
I'll text you back.
Glad to be. He has no idea what I'm saying. He doesn't have the headset on. And folks, that's who I think is going to do it. That's going to be it.
Thank you there, Nathan.
You'll have to go back and listen to that, CJ, because that was the best portion of the entire show. you have to go back and listen to it because that was incredible broadcasting for us all.
Phenomenal use of the microphone there, as everybody said. we're gonna get we should have Bobby any time. He said he was gonna be up at Knott County, so he's been moving. He said he was gonna be on the move a little bit, so he would try to reach us from wherever he was at. Nathan, we were talking about baseball with Ryan, and I know you couldn't hear the conversation because I need to get that's something I got to work on majorly over the summer, to get my phone line working where everybody can hear it. But you see, I guess a little bit of baseball. Who you think's the best right down the mountains out of the three regions?
CJ, I wish that I could tell you, buddy. I've after the whole basketball season, it takes me several weeks to get wound down and get ready for baseball. I've not watched a game yet. I have kept up with scores in the 14th region, and I guess on both sides in the 14th region, it seems like Perry Central seems to be doing pretty good. Estill County softball, they're always good. Perry Central's got a big win against them. I'm sure when Bob comes in, we'll talk a little more about that. But Estill County, that's their second big loss at home in the last several games, though, dating back to last season, because Wolf County beat them last year. Where was the region held at when Wolf County beat them at last year? Was it at Wolf?
Was it Powell County?
Powell County.
I think it was at Powell County.
It was a neutral loss, but they took a loss to Wolf, and then Wolf went on to win it last year. Now they've lost at home to Perry. It's hard though. Who was pitching for Estill in that one?
Oh Lord, that was hard. I can't remember. I think it was one of the seniors they had from last year.
Was it the stud Winkle or?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean that's a big win. That's a big win. I was surprised, and usually when we get towards the end of the season, things look a lot different. I was really surprised by that Perry Central hazard score the other day. I think Perry put 22 runs up.
Scored 17 of them in the sixth inning.
Just kind of blew it out there. So I was surprised about that, but it's easy for me. Being, you mentioned I'm the communications guy or whatever for Perry Central. Since I'm the one kind of broadcasting out the stuff, it's really easy for me to, when basketball season's over, to kind of zone out and just see the scores according to that. But I have seen, I think there's a lot of young talent here in the 14th region. I've really not watched a lot of 13th and 15th at this point, but a lot of young talent here in the 14th region. You mentioned, the Breathitt, Hazard, Knott, guys like that. I think they're going to be good. But it's a matter of if you're talking about can they win right now? I don't know. It's going to be a good season though, and I think by the end of the year, Behan's going to have those boys ready to go.
We talked about the challenge of. We talked about the challenge of a young kid who's not, we didn't have baseball in 2020. 21 last year was new for young kids. For teams that don't have a lot of experience, they're still struggling from the 2020 no play. And I think that's what we had a problem with. We talked to Twain last week on the show. Twain talked about how they have really come a lot further than they thought they would. He thought they may have a letdown here or there, but, I think we're seeing right now that, this past week, I got a chance to watch the major Let's County travel to three of the bigger baseball programs in the region. Breathitt County on Tuesday, Buckhorn on the Buckhorn Tuesday, Thursday we went to Breathitt County, and Friday was at Knott County. Knott County's got a young baseball team, but they don't have a lot of experience. They got two starters back from last year's team. Breathitt County's got a ton of talent and a ton of starters back, but they make a ton of errors, and you can't make errors if your defense is going to be the biggest thing that's going to carry you. And then Buckhorn's not a bad little baseball team. Yeah. They got one pitcher that's pretty good, but as overall, I think Breathitt, Hazard, and Perry are the three best teams. But I think you can beat them on any given day. We talked about Letcher yesterday, only losing 5-3 after they played Letcher. Perry played earlier in the day. They played I think it was Lawrence County. So it was, good day of baseball for Prairie Central yesterday. They got some wins. But I think they're the best team. I told Twain, and one thing Twain's got that a lot of teams don't have, he has very few basketball players on his roster. I think he has like one. All of his players are baseball or football. So he gets those kids much earlier when he wouldn't get those kids.
Yeah, gets them early, and you mentioned, Brad, that having some issues with errors. I mean, just the way the game is, you can be you can lose pretty big in a game, and a few errors be the difference in a close game, a 1 or 2 run game, and a 10-run game. You know what I mean? It can, and by the end of the season, I think a lot of these teams will clear some of that up and be ready to go. And sometimes you're just missing that one hitter in the lineup. It's you get up and you get a couple hits right off the bat, and then you have a couple guys strike out, and it leaves some people stranded. There's so many opportunities in baseball that one ball doesn't bounce the right way, or one player doesn't do the right thing one time, and you're taking like 3 runs off the board. You know what I mean? Because you'd be out there longer. You'd be in a better position. So I think this point in the year, Twain made a good point. That he's surprised by how his kids are coming along at this point. He thought it'd be a lot harder, because you think last year that they basically every team across the state last year had 2 classes of rookies come in that hadn't any time yet, because they didn't get to play the year before, and they didn't. And you got the new crop coming in that year, so a lot of teams are just now starting to get over that 2020 no spring sports deal.
Yeah. Now joining us is the softball coach at Perry County Central, I think, Bobby Ratliff. Bobby, you with us?
You think he's the coach at Perry Central?
Well, I know he's the coach at Perry Central, but
get ready for that all night,
Bobby?
TJ. I'm here he's here.
Can you hear me?
We can't see you, but we can hear you.
Yes, we cannot see you, but we can hear you. How are you doing, Coach?
I'm doing good. How are you all?
We're doing fine. First of all, congratulations. A beautiful win yesterday at Estill County. Coach, that's a big win for your team. I tell you what, the preseason come in, a lot of people have you and Estill 1-2 or 2-1, however you want to put it. And yesterday, you went up there and showed the region, hey, I think, we're the contenders around here. You're going to have to take us out if you want to beat us.
Before we get started on that question, though, I've tried to. This camera's showing it's on. It's not working. You got a quick thing that you can help me to get it working?
No. I mean, right off my head, off the top of my head, you could check. Are you on a computer, or are you on your phone, or?
I tried my phone. It wouldn't allow access to mic or camera, so I'm on my laptop.
I'd check and make sure that your camera's not on in another browser or something, or whatever.
Yeah, the only browser I have open is this one. It's got the light on, but I don't know. I guess we'll just do audio.
I mean, you'd be the ugliest guy on the screen anyway. I mean,
hey,
why would you want to put yourself through this, Bob? Why would you want to do it?
Well, I mean, somebody's got to, though, right?
Right now it's me. Right now it's me, because CJ. Look at that shiny head. He's looking like Stone Cold at WrestleMania last night.
Well, I got pumped up last night. He
got a throwback song.
Yeah. But let's get to Bobby here, because this is very important. Coach, that was a good win for your team yesterday. Talk about your win. Talk about yesterday's game, and then talk about your team, because you have a lot of experience on this team, and I think you guys are going to be a big time contender statewide.
Yeah, it was a big game. As far as everybody projecting Estill and Perry like they do, but at the end of the day, it was game 9. Lynn, coach for Estill, and I talked about it. The girls are always pumped about games like that, because they are good games. But at the end of the day, it's another game in your schedule. It's ways to learn what works, what doesn't, what you need to work on to be better. But still, it's a good win for the program because historically, Estill has ran this region. And so anytime that you're able to beat them, that's a huge win for the program. But
so sorry to cut you off there. Off the top of your head, do you remember the last time that Perry's beat Estill County?
Yeah, we actually beat them the year before. Was it the year before COVID? The year before COVID, we knocked them out in the semifinals of the region when it was played at Breathitt County.
So 3 years, basically.
Yeah, and if I'm not mistaken, that might have been the first time we had ever beaten Estill, but I'm not for sure about that.
Okay, my bad to cut you off. Continue on there, Bobby.
I was just going to say, the girls came into that game, little anxious, but they battled hard. They executed what we had talked about, to give us a chance to try to win the ball game. And Kim was magnificent on the mound. Our defense was very good, had some timely hits. It was just a good day for them.
Coach, I go back. I don't like to go back and reminisce over something that your season began with, but I would believe the first game of the year might have told your girls that if we don't come to play every single day, that we can get beat on any given day. Jackson City beat you 4-2 in the opener, but I thought you took that game and really got your girls to understand that we got to buckle up every day, no matter who we're playing and who the competition is. And that paid off yesterday when you beat Estill. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, the opening game of the year, which Jackson City, they did lose Bree Tancher, obviously, but that team is still solid. It's well coached. Those girls have played together for years, obviously. And even though it was a little bit of a letdown game for us as far as we just didn't perform, Jackson City is one of those teams that if people aren't careful, it'll happen to them just like it happened to us there. But it was game one. I think the girls was very anxious. They done some uncharacteristic things at the plate and in the field. But like you said, it was an eye opener for them. We've had a lot of success over the last 3 or 4 years. And sometimes you get a little bit complacent with that. And that was something that we spoke about after the ball game. We went and talked about it. And, you always want to win ball games, but sometimes those losses can put you on the path that you need to be on. And I feel like that Jackson City loss did exactly that for us.
Yeah, when people saw that loss, and I told people, I said, don't really look at that loss. I said Jackson City's a solid softball team, but then you've run off. You've won every game since then. Let's see, with 2-4. Are you 9-1? Is that your record right now?
No, I think we're 8-1, I believe.
8-1, and you've got this week. I don't want to glance over, but you got Johnson Central, you got Hazard, and you got Frederick Douglass. Then you're going to go do something that I'm a big fan of. You're going to take your team and go to Myrtle Beach and play 4 games. And I've always said that you always should have a bonding trip every year on your schedule to get your kids to have a good time, knowing that, but go play some good competition. And it looks like you're going to play some really good competition there in Myrtle Beach.
Yeah, this is a trip that we've had planned ever since I'd taken over the job. But due to, first off, you got to try to get the funding together because it's very expensive, obviously. And then COVID hit. And so that's kind of derailed those plans for a few years. So we did try to take some overnight trips as far as like playing somewhere in the state and spending the night. Going out, we went to, like a UK softball game together, so we were able to do things like that until they, gave us the approval to go to Myrtle Beach. But yeah, we actually have 5 varsity games scheduled there and 3 JV. And I believe it's 3 teams out of New York and 2 out of Ohio. So obviously we don't know a lot about them. But the experience of these girls getting to go play on those nice fields in Myrtle Beach, play teams from New York and Ohio that otherwise they would never see, win, lose, or draw, we'll learn a lot down there and be able to, like you said, to bond a little bit, to have fun. To have fun is the main thing.
I've been keeping up with I keep up with softball, baseball in all three regions. We get to the 14th. We talked about you getting the win yesterday. After Estill and you, who you think is a couple of teams that people need to keep their eye on? My personal opinion, I think the teams that they need to keep around is Knott County and Wolf County. But now, who are some teams that I'm not looking at that you should keep your eye on 14th Region softball?
Yeah, Knott's definitely a dangerous team. They've not hit their stride yet this season. They've been a little bit up and down. Coach Sandlin and I speak all the time. We grew up together, and that's something we've talked about. You know, sometimes it takes you a little time to figure all the kinks out, and they're not there yet. But when they get there, that team easily could knock somebody off. Wolf County, I mean, how you going to count out the two-time defending champ? You know, you can't count them out. Got a lot of returning players, solid ball club. They're playing a tough schedule, so they're going to be there at the end of the year. I have no doubt about that. And then Jackson City, like I said, I think Jackson City's a solid ball club. And Letcher is kind of not hit their stride yet, but they have a solid schedule. And then the other team I think is very, very dangerous is Breathitt County. They have a lot of big bats in the lineup. You don't pitch them carefully, they're liable to hit one over their school that they're building. So I think that they've proved it. They went to Letcher the other day and hit 10 home runs in 2 games. 17
wow.
on the season. Yeah, they have 17 on the season going into that Myrtle Beach trip. So, you know, you do not watch them, they're liable to put some runs on you in a hurry with just a few swings of the bat.
Yeah. One question I'm going to ask you too. Too early to know this, but do we know where the district and region are going to be this year for softball, baseball? Because I don't know that they ain't going to be a redo of what was last year. So I think we're going to move on. So, do you have any ideas of where district and region softball will be?
District for ours is actually at Perry Central this year, and then the region is supposed to be held at Wolf County.
Yeah, Wolf County. Last year it was at Powell County. Is that correct?
Yeah, and then the championship game got moved to GRC because of the rain.
Of the rain, yes. Okay. So Wolf County for the softball region, and Prairie Central will host the girls 54th district tournament. That's good to know. We're not there yet, but we've got a long way to go. But it's good to know these things because I knew we weren't going to have a redo of last year.
Right.
Baseball one, softball, baseball one to move on. So you know, we're going to go.
Yeah.
Nathan, you got any other questions you want to ask the Bobby?
CJ, baseball is also at Perry County. The way we do our district is every single year, both baseball and softball is at the same school.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Nathan, you got anything else you want to ask Bobby?
No, I mean, I guess one thing is, you know, going into the season, and I'm kind of guilty of this too, and I'm just wondering if the girls kind of hear it, and what do you think that this past win did for the team? I know you said, you know, it's just game 9, but a lot of folks are thinking, well, you know, Perry should have a good year this year, but are they going to, you know, can they beat Wolf? Can they beat Estill County? You know, can they beat Estill County? And that was kind of a question mark. And I know you said you don't want to get ahead of yourself. It's the 9th game of the season, but do you think just getting out there and getting that win over the Engineers is going to, you know, could help them later on in the season should these teams meet again?
Yeah, I absolutely think it will because number one, they, just like you spoke about, how long has it been? Have you ever, you know, and that's the question that a lot of teams have in this region because Estill County has basically ran it since they came in it. I mean, and that's just the truth. You people can say what they want to, you know, Wolf's won it a couple of times. I think Letcher, Leslie one time, Jenkins one time, and then I think Estill's every other year since. So for them to be able to play because the last time we played them in a regular season game, it didn't end so well. I think they mercied us in 5 or 6 innings. But then this to go to their field, well, it was actually last year they did that to us on our field, but it was like game 1 or 2. But to go to their field, and by the way, beautiful facility. They did a lot of upgrades there at Estill County. So baseball, softball, the school itself, it's very much improved and beautiful up there. if you ever get a chance to go. But to go into their place and pull out a tough win, a grindy win, that just shows you, you know what, hey guys, maybe we do belong. It's time to believe that you do belong here. And but now Wolf County also, we got to get that monkey off our back with them too. So
do you well, I got one other question, then I'm gonna let you go, Coach. Do you play Wolf County? I didn't see them on your schedule.
They're not on our schedule, but if we have any openings, we're going to try to make it work out.
Okay. I know one thing too about Wolf County. It is very different to see them without Benny Campbell coaching them.
Yes.
I thought Benny's unbelievable work the last 6-7 years up there has been tremendous, and it's just different to see somebody new coaching a Wolf County softball team. And but you got it going on there, Coach. And I think you guys. I always said it, I think you, Estel, and Wolf are right there. When it gets tournament time, that's going to be one of the best 14th region softball tournaments around. Let me mention your schedule for the week just to help you out a little bit. They'll be at Johnson Central on Tuesday away. Then they return home for the Bulldogs on Thursday. Then Saturday they will play Frederick Douglass away. Game times are 6, 6, and 1, and then they'll head to Myrtle Beach probably on the 10th or 11th, and they play on April 12th. They play Albany, New York, the first game there at the Myrtle Beach Classic there. Coach, I want to thank you so very much for coming on the show. It's always a pleasure to have you. You're doing a tremendous job. You girls are playing hard, getting everything accomplished. And I want to wish you nothing but the best of luck, and we'll be watching you the rest of the season.
Okay. I appreciate you very much. And by the way, I don't care what Dan says about you, CJ.
I know. Dan's always saying something about me. It's untelling what it is. He's got something I always say, but that's okay. I get him back. He might put hazard stickers on my car and catch me asleep, but that's okay. I'll get him back. I will get him back one day. But Bobby, thank you so much for being on the show, and it's always an honor to have you. And you guys be safe. Good luck to you rest of the season, and good luck to you girls.
I appreciate y'all. Thank you very much.
All right, Bobby Ratliff, head softball coach of the Perry County Central Lady Commodores, as Nathan, they're getting it done. They're getting it done down there. They're getting it done there on the campus of Perry County Central right there.
Yep. Quick shout out to my boys. I think Thursday that hazard game will be on broadcast on Commodore Nation on Facebook. So if you can't get out to the game, always those kids will be bringing it to you.
Speaking of your kids, I have to. Very few schools have communication programs in their school. I think your kids do an unbelievable job. There's a future for some of those kids. I even think I've watched several of their telecasts. They do a very professional job, and I have to give them credit, because sometimes, Nathan, when you got stuff like that, some people will not want to be professional about it, even though it's at school, it's a grade, and you're getting graded on it through your classwork and everything. But I feel like that they are really professional, and I think you've done a tremendous job with those kids.
Well, thank you for that, CJ. I know with the kids, I tell them, we've got a standard of what we want and what we want it to look like, and what we want you guys to say. And it is like a school broadcast. So I don't mind if they, I don't mind if they're homers on, if they were on WSGS or if they were on WYMT or something, I would make sure, hey, you guys, you can't do this. So I don't mind that they kind of, they root for their friends. That's okay. But I think, it needs to sound good. It needs to look good, and you need to be professional about it and take some pride in it. And I don't have to, and once I harp on them every once in a while about, there's a misspelling here, or there's, you guys didn't get the scoreboard up fast enough or whatever, I'll get on to them, but for the most part, I don't have to. They know what's expected, and they get it done. And ready, and I think they've done a great job. A lot of the on-air kids graduate this year, so next year we'll have to build up a new crop.
Is that a class? I know a lot of classes are you have to take classes when you're in school, but is this something new that the kids can take just so they can get a class in? I know a lot of classes are you have to take classes when you're in school, but is this something new that the kids can take just so they can get a class
Wallace has his,
I know a lot of classes are you have to take classes when you're in school, but is this something?
Okay, there we go. There we go.
Yes. Wallace wanted to hear my voice. Wallace wanted to hear my voice so much that he wanted to turn me up.
Anyway, it is. I do have a class. There's a pathway of 4 classes they can take it to be career ready. This stuff is mostly extracurricular, though. Mostly extracurricular, and if the kids want to get involved, and they're not in the class, they have the opportunity to do that. They just gotta show up and find a spot. But if you're in the class, you learn how to do it as you go along. So,
yeah. Now with us is Wallace Bates. Wallace is former girls basketball coach in Jackson City, Breathitt County. He's an administrator. Also has been in the military and is the new principal of the Powell County High School there in Stanton. Wallace, it is an honor to have you with us.
Well, I'm glad to be here, and I know, CJ, it's an honor to be on your program. I love watching it every week, and I love how you highlight the kids in the region and the area. Big advocate. I love announcing and just like being a part of everything that kind of goes, and you don't know how happy I am now to be on the pirate ship. And I tell you, I feel a lot of good excitement.
Let's first of all talk about your days in Jackson, and we'll get to Powell County. You've done some tremendous things while you were there. You coached a couple of years at Jackson City. You coached several years at Breathitt County. You were a very successful coach. I don't care what people say. I thought you were. I think today, if you wanted to come back, you could still be a successful coach. You could teach the fundamentals and everything.
Well, I started coaching at Owsley County. I was there about 8 years. I was there back in the days, and I know Josh Cook is following me next here, and I remember coaching against Josh Cook. So I was telling my age a little bit, CJ, right when I thought I was getting younger. You know what I mean? Things, and now he's holding the state championship trophy, and I remember coaching against him in high school. So, but I did. I success, and I tell you what, it's fortunate to do is it's been around great kids, and I think kids do what you believe that they're capable of doing. I believe they'll perform. And I was just very proud of all the players I've ever had. I always felt like the kids give me everything that they could give me. And that's really all you can ask for in the classrooms, in the school, school spirit. And I think that you have to have a competitive edge. I always said that, I always felt like there was a lion and a gazelle, and I always try to be the lion. That was the mentality.
Your days in Jackson were you had some great moments. You were the PA guy for football and basketball. You had been gone for a little while because you've done some military services. I want to commend you on your military service. Anytime we have a military man or woman protecting our country, I salute you. I mean, I really do, because you guys work so hard to keep our country safe, and you guys need to be even given more accolades, I think. But tell me how you were able to adjust a little bit from when you left Jackson to when you went to the military and then you came back. How were you able to pull yourself back together and be the man that you are? Because I know you're a great man.
Well, I tell you what, I appreciate that, CJ. If I can get everybody else to believe, have that. But no, really, I try to take a lot of pride in service and honor, and I do think in the military and different things I've done. I started serving in the military in 1995, and I served, in the reserves and different things. And I suffered a traumatic brain injury in the service, and also then later on I had one when I was a principal at Menifee County. And then I went through all the VA. The VA has been excellent to me. It's been a great transition. Had great people I always say this: we lost a great person in my life that changed a lot. That never would let me quit. That made me fight harder. Was Jane Bowen. I know she's a lifelong, and I know how much you love Hazard, CJ. And she was a legend there. And then she just kept me going. And Kim Gayhart up there, in the clinics, and Anna Cone. I mean, it's just the whole group there at Hazard just circled around and motivated. When I wanted to kind of hit that point in life where it was a hard transition, and I was trying to transition in, and it's been such a great hard work effort, and it's just made it that more rewarding getting to come back in to be with kids, at Powell County. I'm so excited, and be announcing all the ball games and send it on, talking little girls basketball. I tell you what, I think Powell County come on strong there at the end of last year. I know we're going to really miss Presley Hall. I mean, I thought she brought a lot of heart, a lot of excitement there, but you do bring back Chloe Groder and Kyra Cottle and different ones. I think you have to watch out for anything you play the Pirates. I know it's going to be our thing. I'm hoping to paint that town black and red and see that pirate ship coming all over the region. I almost make it mountain wide.
Let's get everybody to a point where was at. You were in Jackson. I think people knew that you still wanted to get back in the principal somewhere
Yeah.
After you got a little more healthier. Then
Right.
you are back. You got healthy. Then the Powell County job happened to open up. Then you applied. They loved your interview. Then they said they gave you the opportunity. Now that you're Powell County's new principal, tell me what you had to do starting off, because I know people have to adjust to new leadership. Earlier this year at Leslie County, same thing happened. Merlin Lewis took over for Todd Horton, who moved on to work at the board. She come in mid-year, and now you come in mid-year. The kids have to get used to you guys because they don't know. They know you, but they don't know you that way. So tell me what's going on there at Powell County now.
Well, the one thing I'm very fortunate about at Powell County right now is I won't take over officially until July 1. Right now, I'm able to go in, kind of work with the community, start making relationships. And I'm telling you, that's great for transition. When I come in at Menifee the last time I was principal, and I tell you, it was a great experience there. And I mean, a different region, it's the 16th region, but I kind of came in, and when I come in, it was, this is the building keys, and here you go. You know what I mean? I mean, there was support, but on the other side, right now, I have the person that's still principal there that's still able to help me in that transition. And I have a tremendous, there's assistant principal there that's just tremendous. I mean, she's a doctor, Skidmore. And so, I mean, the transition period right now is very nice having this 90 days, and not only that, it's a chance for me to get into school there just to talk to kids, meet teachers. Because like you said, it's so important because everybody leads different, and expectations are different. And I've really not had to hit that stride yet.
I think a lot of people don't know this too. Coming up for the basketball season next year, you guys host the region. And your first year as principal, you're going to have a lot of good things happening. One thing I want you to do for me is I need you to put a statue of Ken Jones somewhere on campus, because I miss him so very much.
But see, I got Ken Jones' statue in my front yard. I don't know if I can. All the years me and Ken made such good. And the thing is, it's funny I'm principal because the last time I coached there against Ken, because we had a long stride rivalry there when I was at Owsley, starting in the early 2000s. I left at 2008, and me and Ken was always, and every time I caught Ken at any restaurant, he told me the other day that he was 200-some-year-old because every restaurant that he's ever been at that I've seen him, I'd always have happy birthday sung to him. I'd always say it was his birthday. And he would always get me back. So whenever I would play down there and coach, he'd always say, introducing the Mouse of the South is the head coach. So, I mean, we always had a good running joke, but Ken really brought a lot to the game. He did over the years. And it was great working with Ken. And it's different this year looking at the sideline, not seeing him there.
Yeah. I don't know. Does he? Oh, you wouldn't know this because you just joined you just joined the school. But I was wondering if he stopped in and still saw some games and was still a part of of making, like Coach Wilson does here at Leslie County. This kid come around. I'd like to get him back on the show. I had him on the show last year. That was an awesome interview too. It was a great interview. He had his little red towel with him, and it was just unbelievable. Nathan, you got anything you want to ask Mr. Wallace?
Well, I know seems like going from coaching to principaling is kind of high stress to high stress. Which one which one wears on you the most mentally?
I tell you what, that's a good question, and I'll tell you why I say that is because they both come with different types of challenges, and they both come with different. I like the principal role. I love coaching, but I couldn't keep my clothes on, CJ, because I was always getting so intense, and I believe it's kind of like, you know what I mean? And
you guys got that same problem. Problem.
The good thing about being principal, you know what I mean? You have to kind of control that a little bit, CJ, because I about thought I was going to rip it off in the interview. You know what I mean? The tie, and you know what I mean? That intensity starts coming out. But really, it's the thing is about principal. What I do enjoy is I feel like you get a chance to be. I think it helps a lot being a coach by going into being a principal. I'll say that just to the fact is with sports and understanding the importance of what sports bring to the academic environment as well. Schools that perform typically high in athletics also perform high academically. There's a lot of correlation with school spirit, and not only that, kids need to come to school to be engaged. They need to look forward to doing, and making things that's got their attention. And I try to make sure that every kid's a part of all the programs. I think it's important that you have your girls volleyball and soccer part of football. I think football should be part of the soccer, and you know what I mean? The season should go together. Boys and girls should be one. It shouldn't be, and I think once you build that culture, I think it kind of feeds off each other, in time. And being a principal, I'll tell you what's really exciting is you get to be a part of all the programs. You miss the practice time. You miss getting to make so many personal relationships that you get with coaching that, I miss that part. And but the good thing about it is, I'll be right in the middle of the student section. I guarantee it. Probably body painted, CJ, half the time, and you know what I mean. And it's exciting just to get to be a part of all of it.
I know, Wallace, you will do a great job when you take over on July 1. It's going to be a great side. Academically, Powell County's been really good too. So that you're walking into a good situation there academically. Is there anything that you would like to say to people out there before I let you go, Wallace? To let people know. I know I interviewed you at the Brent at Prairie Central football game, and we talked a little bit about. You were talking about your military service a little bit, but talk a little bit about what you want to bring to Powell County. And what do you want? Where your legacy? Where would you like to leave it?
I tell you what I want to do. I want to leave my legacy, and this is the main thing, is with all students that you ever get to be a part of. And why I say that is, I hope I make as being a coach, I hope that not only did I coach my team, I hope the teams that we played, I made relationships with all those girls and the players from the other teams. And I felt like, even to today, they'll come up and say, Coach, but that means the world to me. Because I felt like you learn as much in life as in defeat is when you show character than so much in winning. My legacy, I hope I make a major mark on Powell County. I hope that I leave a mark there that will touch several generations. Because I always try to tell students coming from the academic side, where sometimes people forget is, you never want to give up. Students, not every student comes from the same situation. But the thing is about school that sometimes I think people forget is what you do is going to affect the next 2 to 3 generations, your kids, your grandkids, and et cetera, what you choose to do outside of, after school. And I think it's our biggest job there is prepare students for the future. And I hope that not only do we do that there at Powell County, that we're a lot to other schools when we go other places. I know now that we share some ATC time there at Estill. I hope that when the students go there that they, that we're a lot and show that pirate spirit and throughout the region. And hopefully, that everybody sees that we're here, that, and I want the big, things too, is that making those relationships and teaching the kids, when you play sports, make that network, because you make great relationships that last lifetimes. There's friends that I played against and I know coached against, You know, you got Mark Collett. You know, I mean, I seen today his son starting. He's got the third baseball player now, T-baller. So now that's going to be fun to see how they have. Now the other twos have been good. Now, you know, I think they could took Mark when he was younger, and Mark's probably not going to like hearing that. But I think they might. You know, I just think they're coming up, Preston. I mean, he's got his hands full, you know, and CJ, when we watch it happen, you know.
It's unbelievable. They're good. They're good athletes for their age. Mark's done a good job. That one likes basketball a lot. One likes baseball a lot. So they all love sports, and that's what Mr. Collett wanted his boys to, you know. And that's just because of the type of father he is and type of person he is. One final thing, I'll let you go. One final thing. Tell me, what would you like to tell the people in Breathitt County? How would you like to tell them? Would you like to give them any final thoughts for the time they gave you? Because they were really good to you.
Yes, I love it. Listen, I've Breathitt County, and I mean they have, and I've loved enjoying watching the kids there. I've loved it watching the coaches grow. I'm kin to some coaches there. I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's a lot of my family tree there, and I think they're excited for me. I'm excited for them, and I think it only adds, you know what I mean, I think it only adds to the competition, and, you know, and I think it adds to the chemistry of everything around, and I think it's good that, you know, that you leave there in that great note. I mean, I absolutely love watching the kids perform there. It's been amazing, and, you know, I really appreciate Brett that even when, you know, whenever I was done, you know, when I'd come back out coach and stuff, let me announce and be part of the games. I loved announcing the regional tournament this year. I thought that was
phenomenal.
I love that.
Phenomenal.
I love doing the PA, you know, and I love doing it, and I always enjoyed doing that. And I always thought, you know, it brought a lot, and the community there, it was just it's a great community there in Breathitt. They've been they've always been supportive of me, and they're just great people. You know, and like I said, you know, in chapters in life, you know, I mean, I think every time you get opportunities, this is just such a wonderful opportunity, and I'm just so excited about the future here and seeing how things go. And I know I want to add one last thing before I do go, and I know because talking about basketball, but I tell you, so fortunate. It's great seeing a lot how this region has continued to grow in coaching. I got a chance to talk to Honeycutt this week, and it was good to talk to him on the phone. You know, we had some great wars through the years, you know, back, if you remember, man, maybe some great girls basketball. And I feel like right now you still got great girls basketball. And I know people don't throw this out there, but I'm telling you, you got a legend still coaching in Larry Sparks. People might forget, you know, 1990, I mean, he's still, 1990, he's in the state championship game with All A, you know, a Moose Moore. I mean, don't ever forget them days. And I tell you, I've through all the years, and you do a lot of things, I would put Larry Sparks, X and O coach, against any college coach today. Now I'm making that statement, CJ. X's and O's, I'd put Larry Sparks against anybody. I've never seen nobody, you know, could break down games and does things. He's such a student of the game. You know, he had great runs at Buckhorn too. People forgot there, you know, on the boys, he had great runs in the All A's through Buckhorn, Owsley, everywhere he's been. Leslie, you know, he's always been a winner. And not only that, I always thought he was a class act to work with. You know what I'm saying? And kind of mentor, because I got a chance to work with Charlie Turner. I don't know if you remember Charlie much back in the days of that. Man, you talk about the guy was intense. And, you know, I'm so proud like now, Travis Smith. Me and Travis Smith was best friends, the coaches Owsley's girls. We was best friends all through college, running mates. And then we started coaching together our first year at Owsley as assistants. And now I watch what he's doing. And I mean, he's there in overtime. And I mean, and then watching Carly play, it makes me think so much of Travis, because I remember playing with Travis, you know, in school. It's just great to watch what kind of run they made this year in Letcher in that last shot. You know, what are they, 2 seconds from going to Rupp Arena? You know,
less than a second.
Yeah. And I remember that. And now I'll never forget, Randy, 2.1 seconds still haunts me to the rest of my day. If I look up on a clock, CJ, and I see 2.1 seconds, I cringe after that game at Leslie County that year. You know, so. But
I got to, yeah, that was a heartbreaking moment. That was but you've had some great moments in your life, Wallace, and I believe that you're going to create a lot more great moments at Powell County High School. I don't want of many to say congratulations, and good luck on your journey as principal at Powell County High School. I can't wait to come to your school and come in and visit. And like I said, the boys regional tournament's going to be there this year, and hopefully I'll get up there and watch some games. And I know the hospitality is just going to be tremendous.
Oh, absolutely, Nate, and everybody sees it, and everyone, this is the one thing I do love about our region. I do think that we are finally giving our students. I think it was always something. They're now getting the media attention that they deserve. I felt like, now, it was great just this year announcing. When I look up in the regional tournament and you see 4 or 5 different media outsources, covering games. That to me is tremendous. Having your show right here, CJ, is just an absolute tremendous thing. Whenever, you're talking, and not only that, it's not only our region. Next you got Josh Cook. Josh Cook was a great player at June Buchanan. I don't know if people remember when he played, that he could play. He was a player, and I'm so proud of him winning the state championship. Congratulations if he's watching. I'm coming out, but it was great watching his run this year. And, he done it all year long. That's what always amazed me about that. It's hard to see a team start one and finish one. And I thought he really done a good job of holding that together, But like I said, it's just so great, this region and all everybody's doing to keep these kids recognized. And, what I feel like, and I do feel like that this whole region's become a neighborhood. And I think that's important. But I really appreciate you guys having me here tonight.
Again, I want to thank you so much for being on. I would like for you to come back again, and you have nothing but the best luck for you and your new school, and I wish you them the best luck.
Well, definitely for the regional tournament, if we're hosting it this year, let me know. We'll give all the details and everything going down before that, when everything comes.
Yep.
You guys have a good one.
Can't wait to see you. Can't wait to see you. Can't wait. All right, Wallace. Thank you so much. We'll see you down the road. Wallace Bates, the new principal, starts July 1st, but he's right now doing some on-the-job training. So Nathan, he's got a lot of things he's going to see and do between now and that. Now with us, absolute honor, the head basketball coach of the George Rogers Clark Cardinals and our state champion for the year 2022, Mr. Josh Cook. Josh, first of all, congratulations. I know you've heard it 600-700 times, but and you deserve it. But just what an unbelievable season that you and your team had. I know when I brought you on back early in the year, you was excited. You had the right to be. But what you pulled off was pretty nice.
Yeah, it's definitely been a blessing. Also, shout out to Mr. Bates for the kind words earlier. So I got a chance to listen to that. Man, it's still, I think it sets in more and more every day. I'm starting to get a little bit, I guess, rested finally. I've been tired. I just been worn down, but it was a blessing. You sit back. My assistant was over here just a little bit ago. We were just talking about everything throughout the season and just the opportunities that we had, and just seeing our guys grow up and enjoy these past couple weeks together has been really cool. So, thank you for having me on. I'm super blessed.
Nathan, I watched every game of the state tournament online. I didn't get a chance to go this year. Nathan was there to watch every game. He got to see it personally. But I thought your team, you guys, Wallace actually mentioned it too. You did something very few teams did. You started off strong. You were in the top 5 when the season began, and when you got to number 1, you never did relinquish it. And we talked about when you played in the Fairdale tournament and the Fifth Third Bank. We said those 2 tournaments were crucial for you as far as how you thought you were going to make your mark in the state tournament. Looking back now, was you right on your assessment, or what could you? I know winning a state championship, there ain't no more you could do, but what could you have? What could you made it more easier? Because you guys won games by 20 and 30 points after you got done with the 2 tournaments, which were very competitive. But talk about that a little bit.
I really don't know. There's a lot of stuff I guess you could do. when we got in the state tournament, we didn't shoot quite as well as we had all season. So I'm very thankful that, we took a lot of pride in defense and things like that. But, also I thought I liked what we did with our schedule. I thought our schedule, we were talking about this even with some of our kids. I guess last Thursday, we were just talking about schedule and even looking at next year. It's just so important to play the mixture of teams throughout the state. Because, we got in the state tournament, and we've played, schools from all over the state, different areas. But then, we play. You got to make sure you play some of the best schools in the mountains too, because everybody plays a certain style, and you got to make sure you're prepared to adjust each night. And so, we get state tournament, we play Perry Central, we play Pikeville, two mountain teams that are both high quality programs that want to win. And then Lincoln County was a different animal too in the way they played. And then you play Warren Central, who was arguably one of the more athletic teams in the state tournament. So it was for me, just if I had to go over, I'd probably do everything the exact same. Maybe I like what we do with scheduling. It's just important to me always. I'm from the mountains to play some of those teams, but also continue to play the best of the best as well. Just make sure you mix it up, because when it gets postseason, you just got to be able to adjust. And those are things that I just think that paid off huge for us later on.
I'm going to take you back to your semifinal game in the 10th region tournament. You played Mason County. They gave you, they tested you to your core. And then I thought your kids really came to the forefront that game, because, playing on their home floor, they had nothing to lose. They would love to be the one to take you out when everybody else was losing. Every other good team was going by the wayside, but you was able to get them to hold their ground and win that game. Talk about that Mason County game, because I was keeping up with that game that night when you guys were playing that game.
Yeah, that's 2 years in a row we played them in the semis, and what they choose to do, it's kind of a bit of a rivalry with us with them. They actually try to hold the basketball, so that's just kind of their style, and they want to try to play close and hope that something falls in their favor. Our guys were patient. Our guys understood that was going to be part of the process. It actually happened to us last year when we won the region last year. We played Mason, and once Mason got up like 4, they started holding the basketball, and they've got a very nice team. They're very disciplined in what they do, but this year our guys just you had to keep hanging in there. It's going to be a low possession game. I think we were in the driver's seat for the most part, but it just wouldn't want to be one of those games where you're going to extend the lead, just because the style that they were playing was to play close. And our guys, it shows a lot of composure. You have to handle that the right way, not panic, not get frustrated, and make sure your guys stick together and believe in the game plan. That when you get your stops, you got to go play. You got to make sure it counts. So it was a heck of a game, and definitely a confidence builder for us.
Go ahead, Nathan. Go ahead.
CJ ain't gonna let me talk tonight. He's just gonna shut my mic off, kick me off. Anyway, Coach Cook, I get to talk for a little bit. Hey, I'll just get in there. But you guys come out big statement win, first game of the Sweet 16, and then has your team ever had a stretch where they were tested like that 3 games in a row this year? I know not in win or go home situations like that, but what had you guys really felt that this year, and how do you think that your guys performed under that type of pressure?
I guess you go back, we were talking about those Christmas tournaments. That's probably the closest thing I can do. And the next step would be, if you look at our schedule, like especially the last couple of weeks of February, if you look at it, we kind of mixed up. I think we played Douglas on a Tuesday, Knox Central on a Wednesday, and Knox Central, was really good. And then we played like Bardstown on a Saturday. So we tried to do a good job of making sure we had stretches in our schedule of 3 games in weeks where you had to play some back-to-backs and figure things out. But the Christmas tournament, that one round, we had to play Woodford, North Laurel, Ballard back-to-back in 3 days. And when we went to the King of Bluegrass, we played 2 out-of-state teams that were loaded. Then we played North Odom, then Ashland. So, we kind of experienced. I thought we handled it really good. Our defense had to pay off because we just did not shoot well. Like when you get in the state tournament, your legs will go. You'll start getting tired. Shooting erupts different, and we just didn't shoot well. So we had to keep believing that, hey, we got to show toughness and guard. And honestly, we led the state in scoring, which is a credit to all of our kids and the firepower they have. But scoring's not what won it for us. It was their D. And so, as a coach, it's really cool to see your kids go out and get the job done that way.
You mentioned that you played some teams, Mason County, and we saw a lot of teams in the Sweet 16 that opted to kind of hold on to the ball and be real patient with things. The shot clock discussion always comes up. I thought that the Sweet 16, while the total scoring was pretty low, I thought the games were all really good to watch.
Yeah.
They were all close, tightly contested, except for that, you had that one big blowout win to start it for you guys. And I think that a lot of people don't understand that when it comes to holding the ball, that a really bad team isn't capable of just holding the ball, as long as they want. That's not something that a really bad team can do. But when you're talking about good teams, and the quality of basketball overall, what do you think about the shot clock?
Honestly, I wish there was one. That's just my opinion. I'm not saying by any means my opinion's right, because I understand and I respect everybody else. I wish there was a shot clock to make sure the game is played, to take away the idea of holding it for, which I did it too. I've been in we were in the semis at Lincoln and we held it for the last shot. I think probably around a minute off the clock. But if I had to choose, I wish there was a shot clock. It doesn't need to be 24 seconds, but in the 30 to 36 second range, where you should be able to get a basket by that point. The game has changed, and that's something I think we all need to be able to adapt to. Basketball will forever be changing, and 10 years from now, it might be something different. But I think it is important that for kids and for coaches and the way the game is played, because it's an up-paced game. It should be. It's a fun game to watch, and I would like for there to be a shot clock, but also, I'll support whatever decision anybody makes. If there's not going to be a shot clock, in my opinion, then you really need to do a better job of enforcing the 5 second, 6 second, that rule, giving kids to get up and chance to guard, because, like hand checks and things like that, if people are going to, play in what I would consider a very, stall type basketball, you got to give us freedom to get up and guard. You know what I mean? And that's just kind of part of the process. Or make sure we enforce the 5 foot, 6 foot rule, whatever that is, where guys have to somewhat be aggressive. So,
and I think at the Sweet 16, that's something that I thought they were pretty loose with that 5 second call. I thought they were pretty slow counting, and sometimes I thought they got to 5 and just kept going. It felt like also you're allowed to come up and throw another defender and switch guys off.
Yeah.
And that count's supposed to keep going. And there's a couple times that I thought that we may have seen a 5 second count, didn't get called. Man, talk about the physics. You mentioned the hand checks, just in general. Sweet 16 this year was some physical basketball, and they let kids go. I've seen I think it was the Pikeville North Laurel game where everybody's talking about this crossover, put the guy on the ground. I'm like, dude, he just threw him on the ground. He just shoved the kid down. And I'll take it. Look, put it in my highlight reel too if they don't call the foul. But it was, that was not a weak man's game up there. This Sweet 16, it was a battle every game.
Yeah, it was physical, and honestly, for me, I like as the officials are not wanting to dictate it. They're wanting to let the guys play. There's got to be, as long as I'm okay with play. I don't like dirty basketball by any means, and not a fan of that. But you've got to adjust if that game is physical and there's a rhythm to it. Then guys got to play through it. They got to be smart. And one thing when you get in the state tournament, you're going to get officials from every different region. So it's smart that your kids their composure and learn the officials and learn to adjust to the way the game's going to be called that game. But yeah, it was definitely physical, and we that's part of being competitive. Our guys, when they got physical, our guys know how to play that game, and they, it's they got to show up and get it done, whatever it takes.
I've got a couple questions, and I'll let CJ get something in now. I know he's licking his chops over there, getting ready to go.
Go ahead. Listen. I love this. I love this. Go ahead. Go.
Well,
go ahead.
but no, Sweet 16. I was up there. I know a lot of people have probably, how's it feel to win state tournament? You've probably heard that question a million times. Something that I thought, just looking out from from press row there, seeing everything. When you get up there to the championship game, lights come down and they're announcing each kid. They come up and wave. Lights are out. Look like you and everybody was just soaking that moment. How did that feel? How did that feel? Because to me, that's when it kind of feels real, because they don't do that for every game up there. That's just the championship game. How did that feel?
Well, for me, it was a dream come true. I mean, the state championship games I've watched, that was always, they played the video. They play the video before the state championship game. You see all the stuff, and that's something I've always wanted, for my life. But it was cool for me to see the kids. Like, I really try to do a good job of making sure that I enjoy the moments. And like, when you live in those moments, not let your emotions get the best of you. Just make sure I pay attention, because I really like seeing our kids and our team enjoy that stuff. And just me I was the last name called, so I got to see every kid and every coach reaction. To when their name was called. It was pretty cool. It was emotional. I can tell you, I probably got a little teary-eyed at times during that. It was dark, so nobody saw it. But it's something you dream of, something you want to be a part of, and it's definitely different. It's special. I can tell you that.
Yeah, something else. What did you think about? Did you see any players in the Sweet 16 that you think are really going to be something to look out for in the next year or two coming up?
Yeah, I mean, I saw a lot. Based it on, I saw some kids I think that were going to do really well at the next level. Like, I love the point guard at Lincoln County, Jackson Smith. Some college is going to get a great, tough kid that can play the point at the next level. He's strong, can do so many things. Young kids, I love Ridge Beverly. I think Ridge Beverly has a chance to be really special. I love the coach's son at Warren Central. He was a sophomore. He looks like he might grow 2 or 3 more inches. You know what I mean? He's got a good shot, got a good skill set. And I loved Riley Salmons. I thought Riley Salmons at Pikeville, the more he develops his all-around game, he's got a special talent with his release, the way he shoots the basketball. But it was, and obviously, I can talk about Reed and Caleb Glenn and those guys. Those guys are studs. But I thought overall it was a good state tournament. It's very talented, and Kentucky's got some kids that can play in the state.
Yeah, look, it was a great tournament. I think that's really, especially, we missed the tournament in 2020. Kind of got back into it in 2021, but we couldn't really get as many fans in there as we wanted. Everybody had to. We're on press row there wearing masks the whole time. Nothing's more aggravating than trying to call a basketball game on the radio while wearing a mask the whole time. But you do what you can to get out there and have the tournament. But man, the first tournament back, wide open. I thought this was a great one. And I know, Coach Cook, you're probably pretty fond of this Sweet 16 tournament too, compared to tournaments past as well.
Yeah, we got to experience that in the past. The year that COVID, I had there was kids on that team that was at that championship game that, it meant a lot to see us continue to play, because they never got that chance to play. And then last year, we played it last year too. Like you said, and the crowds were, me and my wife were just even talking about it. It was just such a different atmosphere of playing. We're just coming off COVID and things. There's still COVID things going on and all the protocols, but this year it kind of felt back to like really what you dreamed of. You know what I mean? And when you thought about the state tournament as a young coach or as a player, it really kind of looked the part again. And I think people were very excited to get back out and enjoy the state tournament.
What do you guys got to do next year? I know really talented team, and it's tough. A lot of people don't understand how. I thought Wallace brought up a good point. He said, you start at the top and you end at the top. There's a lot of coaches that seems like it's a lot easier to come in with no pressure, no target on your back. Coming off a championship year, you think your kids are ready to get in there and go next year, or are going to take some extra motivation, or?
They got to handle success. I mean, kids are going to be kids, and I think you just got to be upfront and honest. I think that's something we tried to do all year was, guys, hey, this is where we are. We talked a lot about trying to win it. I mean, we're very humble. We're very thankful. We don't overlook anything. But I think next year we just guys like, look, you're going to be a big you're going to be a big game on a lot of people's schedules, and you guys got to prepare yourself mentally for that. You got to block out some of that clutter and handle it the right way. Be thankful, stick together, and but I think I'll probably attack. I'll probably already start attacking probably next week. Just get your mind right, because even when summer basketball comes, it's going to be the same scenario. It's we'll chase the dream again. That doesn't mean we can do it, but we'll start talking about it, trying to put together a vision of where we think we can be. But I think you got to be upfront honest with our guys. Like, hey, you got to handle success the right way. Stay humble, be thankful, but also know like you're going to be a big game on a lot of people's schedules. So you're going to have to work extra hard if you want to have another shot at it.
Going to be a big one. You coming from June Buchanan down there in the mountains, and now you go up to GRC, Clark County. You handle business, get a state championship. But the mountains been pretty championship poor when it comes to basketball. Shelby Valley had their run a while back in the 15th. Folks out in Laurel County before that, mid 2000s. But that's about it. What do you think? What do you think's holding back the Eastern Kentucky folks from really competing at that level?
I think they can. I think it's just I think it's just got to be a special group that comes through. I think they got to really get out and play. I think you got to really mix up your schedules. I think that's part of the issues with so many things nowadays is it's hard to schedule, especially if you're good. Like if you're a good team, there's a lot of teams that won't play you. But I just think it's so important that you schedule teams to help put a vision with your guys. And I think that's something that, Powell does a pretty good job of that, of playing some different teams. And I know everybody wants home games and everybody wants these situations, but you've got to be, if you're, I'm from the mountains and but you got to open up your mind a little bit. Let guys see, other parts of the state. If you get beat, you get beat. But it's part of that establishing a vision of understanding, hey, there's a bigger picture of what we want to do. Because you got to adjust. If you play, that's the same thing with us. If we played only our region teams, we're only going to understand certain styles. Like, we have to play Lexington schools. We want to play Louisville schools. We want to play, the schools in the mountains, just because everybody plays different basketball. And for me to get out of the 10th region, it's the same way. Everybody plays different. Northern Kentucky basketball is played different. You get up there and you start talking Cutcath and Campbell County. It's just really important that I think that you have to mix your schedule up and not worry so much. I mean, we obviously won a lot of games, but it's not as much worried about the wins and the losses. You're making sure you get this amount of wins. It's making sure you get the experience of understanding what type of competition and styles of play is out there, so your guys can adjust and play at that play at a high level.
Absolutely. This is the last thing I'll give you before I turn it over here to CJ. John Walker just texted me and said, "Tell Cook I said it's championship or bust next year. No pressure. No pressure."
It's only been a couple of weeks, John. You got to give me a break now. Come on. I can't get that stressed out this quick now.
People like to put the pressure on you, Coach. They know that they know what kind of guy you are. They know what kind of team you got coming back. You got a lot of kids coming back. You have 5 seniors, I believe. That's what I was counting when I looked at your roster. But you got a majority of your kids coming back, and you got a lot of experience, and you had a really good young group of kids. Your JV and freshman teams that were really, really good. I think you can do it again. I mean, I look out the state, and I see a lot of coaching openings. Ballard looking for a boys coach. That stuns me. I thought, they made they were in the tournament this year, or no, Male was in the tournament this year. But I guess if Trinity and Ballard are looking for coaches, that means that you didn't do your job to get into Sweet 16 when you're supposed to be there every year. And coaching's hard. Just talk about that a second, because coaching is hard. I mean, people don't understand the stress that you guys go through day in, day out with practice, games, fundraising, all this and that. Just talk about that just 1 second.
It's a lot. It's and I'll say this: if you do have some success, it'll humble you real quick, because you'll hear for 80 to 90% of it will be good, but there's going to be 10% that you're not going to want to hear, that you're not going to like, and you have to handle that the right way. And I have my fair share of critics, and I have to handle that. And it's you got to have a very good support base. I have a wife and a daughter that are they support me in what I do. I got a close friends, and I kind of keep a small circle. I'm not really I like things simple. I like my small circle of people. That's the ones I know who are loyal to me and have my back. But coaching is a different animal, and you got to have. I just try to learn to be more honest with kids and parents, because parents can be hard to deal with sometimes. But parents are going to be blinded because they love their kid so much. Like, they're going to always see their kid first, and my job, I always will say, is I'll see the team first. But it's a ton of work, and we'll take a couple of weeks off from this situation, then we'll start doing some stuff at the end of the day during school, a couple more things. I'll probably will stay away from too much talking to my team for a while, but I'll let my assistants do that. I'll kind of put together a game plan when you do schedules. Coaching's a grind, but it's a blessing. I enjoy it. It is stressful, but you gotta handle it the right way. And honestly, it's probably what's good about it, because it'll keep you humble for sure.
Correct me if I'm wrong right here. For you had a stint at Lawrence County, then you have a gap in your coaching resume, like you got out of coaching for a little bit. Is that right?
No, I was at Lawrence.
But okay.
Then I
Where'd you go after Lawrence?
I was at Lawrence from 2012 to 14, 2 seasons. Then I went to Mercer County for 2 seasons before I took this job. So,
okay, that's what it was. I can remember you had a pretty good squad at Lawrence County.
Yeah, those kids
and it wasn't that you got out of coaching, but I remember some people. There's a really group of intelligent basketball discussion that happens on this website called Bluegrass Rivals, and by intelligent, I mean just an absolute cesspool. Hey, and I used to be the ringleader. So I can't. And I was the puppet master. Just absolutely just dropping bombs on there and watching people lose their minds. But I remember some people were like questioning, like, well, this move doesn't make any sense. Why is he going from Lawrence County to Mercer County like this? And people just don't understand that, coaches have lives. That you go from that you've got a family you pick up and go from place to place. And sometimes, and you mentioned that, parents don't see parents, they see their kid, they see their kid and they think it's, that if their kid's not getting what they want, that it's obviously somebody else's fault sometimes, and I get it on the radio. I had and if they're out there listening today, sorry. You know who you are. You don't know that I know, but there was a player for a team that before our We Elite Awards banquet said that a parent from another team stopped them at the store or something, like, oh, hey, how's it going? Are you going to the award show this weekend? They were excited about it. And they're like, well, we're going, but man, that Nathan Little guy, he doesn't like my kid. He's got something, he never says nothing. Dear God, listen, give me a freaking break. Okay. There's nobody that gets into this because they want to see a kid lose a basketball game, or they want to see a kid not perform well, and there, coaches, somebody's got to lose. Somebody's got to lose. If you're calling the game or you're coaching the game, somebody's got to lose. But it's your job to make relationships with kids, get the most out of them you can. But ultimately, you don't answer to the parents or the kids. You answer to yourself and your family. And I think a lot of people miss that sometimes.
Yeah, I agree. They do. It's just kind of part of it. And, I've the way I grew up, I've been around basketball my entire life. And, parents usually, they just love their kid. And I love my daughter. I don't know if she'll ever play basketball. She probably won't, honestly. But, you're going to see your kid first, because that's where your heart is. And so I try to be upfront and honest with parents and kids and say, hey, I get it. Like, I don't usually take it personal when somebody doesn't like something I do. But I can always just reassure them, like, hey, if I think your kid's the best, best option to help our team win, that's something I'm definitely going to try to do. So, it's just kind of part of it.
Well, Coach, I couldn't be no more happier for you than anybody in this world. I'm so tickled to death with all the accolades you're getting now. I saw the other day you guys got some bottles of soda with your. Yeah, that was so cool. I saw some of your other interviews you've had with other people and other stuff that you've been getting from the community and throughout the state. You just deserve everything you got. And Coach, I want to thank you for taking the time to be here. I know that anytime I need you on the show, you'll come be a part of it. I can't wait to see you guys get started up again next year. And I think you're going to have a good chance to repeat again.
Well, let's see. I appreciate you guys having me on. So it's always fun. I like talking basketball and I like to talk about our kids and program. But thanks for the kind words. But I'm very blessed, and I can't say that enough. So I'm very thankful.
Well, Josh, thank you so much for being with us. Good luck with the continuing awards and stuff your team will be receiving, and then good luck to you this summer while you get summer ball underway. And then we'll talk to you sometime during the fall.
All right, sounds good. You all have a good night. Thank you all.
Thank you, Josh. Josh Cook, the head basketball coach of the George Rogers Clark state champion Cardinal there. All right, Nathan, give me some of your thoughts. What's on your mind now? Because we got Courtney going to join us in about 5 minutes. So what do you think about the championship game tomorrow night? I was going to get it. I'm going to get us a women's score right now, but tell me what you're thinking about the men's championship game tomorrow night.
I'll tell you, CJ, and the only thing I can be as honest with you is I've never been more disinterested in a championship game in my life. I just North Carolina, Kansas, I don't care. I don't care. And people won't like to hear me say this, but if Duke was in it, I'd have been watching it. Because I would have been
everybody would have. Everybody
I would have been interested to see Coach K play in the championship game. And I know, not a lot of Duke fans in the area. I'm not, I'm more of a basketball fan.
Yep.
I know we got a lot of diehard UK folks in here, and I'll ramble on about this for a bit. There's a lot of people talking about Coach Cal, and obviously this season it didn't end the way they wanted to. It's been 3 years since UK has won an NCAA tournament game. At the COVID year, 2021 they didn't make it. In 2022 they lose in the first round. I do think the fact that the Peacocks went to the Elite Eight and lose to what could be the eventual champion, I think that takes a little sting off of that win, off of that loss for Wildcat fans, seeing that they won a few back to back there. However, I see a lot of people talking about, Cal can't coach and he needs to, they need to fire him or whatever. I think basically since he's taken over at Kentucky, he's basically been been a top 5 coach, year in, year out, brings in recruiting class, a lot of people. And me, honestly, I don't even consider myself a big Kentucky fan anymore, CJ. It's not like it was when I was in high school. When I was in grade school and stuff, I can remember I was in grade school for the 96 championship and for the Tubby Smith year and everything. And I can remember how much that I enjoyed Kentucky basketball. And like when we won the championship in 96, we had at Dennis Wooten Elementary over in Hazard. It's been demolished, no longer a school, consolidated. But when we had in 96, we had a championship, and they announced over the speakers the next day we were having a UK cake. And we all went, and I was so excited. It was an ugly looking cake. I saw a picture of it. It's ugly, just it was the typical cake that they'd give us in, with their dessert or whatever, but it just had a big blue claw paw on it, and it said, Kentucky 96 champions. And I remember getting so mad because by the time my class went down for lunch, everybody had eaten it all. And I was so upset. I remember in 98, I was in 6th grade, and Dennis Wooten just went up to 6th grade. So, the 6th graders on the basketball team, we were the top dogs. We got to pick our numbers first for the year. And I remember I wanted to go in and get number 15 for Jeff Shepard. I went in, it was my turn to pick a number, and somebody had already picked it. Number 15 for Jeff Shepard. So I got mad, but then I said, well, okay, I'll get number 13 for Nazi Mohammed, who was my second favorite player. So I get 13. That's my number, Nazi Mohammed. Next kid comes in, and Nazi Mohammed was his favorite player. And he was mad at me for taking it because Nazi was his favorite player, and he wasn't mine. But I'm like, well, man, that's the two best players, my two favorite players on the team. I don't want Scott Padgett's number. I want Jeff Shepard, But the next year they lose to Michigan State. I remember crying, as a kid. And as the years went on, I just don't care. I don't care anymore. You can't get attached to players at Kentucky. You know what I mean? You can't do it. Maybe this NIL deal thing where if you have a big player like Oscar who comes in and, hey, Oscar could probably make as much money at Kentucky next year as he would in the NBA. So maybe that helps a little bit. But I don't even consider myself a Kentucky fan because it just doesn't feel the same to me. A different team every year. I don't get attached to everyone. I do still keep up with it. I'm a self-proclaimed Gonzaga fan, but I probably watch more Kentucky basketball than I watch Gonzaga, if I'm being honest, because it's just what we do here. You watch it, you keep up with it, you see how it's going. And I thought this team was a good team this year. But I think St. Peter's was a good team too. A lot of people are talking about whether or not we should get rid of Calipari, and I do not think, I don't think so. But at the same time, he's missed the tournament twice now. Now we got back-to-back seasons where he missed the tournament and then lost in the first round by a team that we probably should have lost to him. You know what I mean? You look back in that game and people want to say stuff happened down the stretch. Stuff happened down the stretch and should have called a timeout. I'm not going to criticize Calipari over not taking one timeout or whatever. I think that they should have showed up and beat those guys by 20. And that's what North Carolina did. North Carolina wasn't even as good as Kentucky. I mean, we blow North Carolina out?
And Kansas.
Like
we beat
badly?
both teams. We beat both teams with 20-plus points. So
I think Kentucky, and you're talking about college age kids who are young college age kids because most of them are freshmen. We had some sophomores on this team, but I do think, I think they should have beat them by about 20 at least, but it is what it is. They lose to it. But I think at the very least, I think Cal has earned a lot of rope, but at the very least, they need to have the administration needs to have a conversation with Cal. Like, look, man, okay, this is Kentucky. We've had one bad year last year, a losing record. That's something that shouldn't happen. This year we rebounded. We did better. Had a better year, but maybe the worst. All things considered, it's one of the worst losses in program history. 15 seed beating a 2 seed in the first round of the playoffs. So I think at least it needs to be communicated. Hey, this isn't acceptable. And we got to do whatever we got to do. We got to do whatever we got to do to make it better. But you don't fire Cal. Who are you going to get that's going to do any better? You know what I mean?
The only thing that I wish Cal would do he just needs to adapt to his coaching style. He needs to learn to play zone. He needs to do a few other things. If he'll adapt, he'll be fine. But I'm with you 100%. There ain't nobody no more better that could coach his team than him. Leave him alone. Just like you said, let the administration talk to him, and we'll go from there. Because I mean, it's not going to make a difference. I mean, who the coach is. He's got 5 assistant coaches on his bench that have been fired from other places that are pretty good coaches, but none of them could coach at Kentucky. Could Bruce Flint? No. Twiga? No. I mean, none of them.
If he has another bad year this year, then you can talk about it, because you're at a point. You're at a point where they're not doing well. I still think this team, they had one. I think they had a bad game. I think they had a bad game. And that happens with kids sometimes. These are 19, 20-year-old kids. These are not, battle hardened basketball players that are professional. They're still learning. They're still learning the game. And learning the college game, it's a different deal. So I don't think we need to kick Cal to the road yet, but I do think, you need to have one of those conversations that, this is Kentucky and this is not the way this is supposed to work. Either way it goes, he's done a spectacular job. And the first several years that he was at Kentucky, I mean, I couldn't tell you anybody that did a better job year in and year out than Cal, because he was always right there. He was always right there. And that the NCAA basketball tournament is the hardest tournament in all of sports. Mm-hmm. It's the hardest tournament in all of sports. And I don't care what anyone says. It's the hardest tournament in all of sports. 64 teams, and you got to win.
68.
Well, 60, look, listen here. Those extra 4 teams, they shouldn't be there anyway. That's just so they can throw a few more games in and make some more money. Listen here, NCAA. Get that junk out of here. These play-in games, stupid. 64 teams, and let them go.
Let me give you an update on the women's final championship game. South Carolina's up 43-29 with 2 minutes to go in the third. So it looks like South Carolina's on their way to getting a SEC team a national championship. South Carolina's for real. If you watch them all year play, they were on a mission after Kentucky beat them in the championship of the SEC tournament. So that's the score right now, 43-29, a little less than 2.5 to go in the third. Nathan, well, I've been getting on YouTube lately here, been watching a little bit of some AMW shows. I know right now AMW is on a hiatus till they can figure out when they want to come back. And a lot of people are wanting them to come back. I've had a lot of people text me and call me and wanting to know when was AMW going to have another show? Are they going to come back? Folks, I all I can tell you right now is, as of right now, we don't have any scheduled shows, but we will hopefully here come up May, June. Hopefully we'll return. But Nathan, your time at AMW, talk a little bit about that, because I thought you did a phenomenal job of setting the tone for them, for the other people that came in behind you. And then I really enjoyed helping with AMW doing the ring announcing and stuff, because I loved it. I even got to do 5 TV shows when they went to Ricky Morton's school. So talk a little bit about that, because I really enjoyed that and I had a lot of fun. And you've done a great job.
Well, thank you. I enjoyed it. It was really, really, a busy, really, especially starting out. We were really busy because we didn't do the TV tapings. For me, as being a guy that was, putting the TV show together and commentating, when I had to go to on the road to everything they did. I mean, they were running multiple nights a week. Sometimes it was all over Eastern Kentucky, and sometimes, we'd go up to go up around Louisville. Some crazy stuff. It was fun. growing up watching professional wrestling and being a professional wrestling fan at the time, I got to, I know, Bo James once he had mentioned the way things had shook out several months into it. He goes, man, Nathan has probably got more of an education here than he's ever, than he ever got in school, because you learn a lot. Yeah. You learn a lot if and listen, I look back, it seems like it's every few weeks or something. I'll look at my my Facebook memories, and I'll find something that I posted about professional wrestling, like a hot take or something, or I was watching a show and talking about it from before my time in AMW, and I would delete it. Just because I got in it, and once you live it for a while, it's you just know so much more. And I owe AMW a lot. That's kind of how I cut my teeth as a commentator. And it was really hard because there was a lot of nights where I was doing it by myself, didn't have anybody to work with, and a lot of times I was filming the first time we did it, and then I go back in to overdub it, and there were some times that I would do it at the house. I got a kid asleep, and I'm trying to commentate this the way that I'd like to, but I got to be quiet. I can't wake up the kids.
Yeah.
A lot of late nights, stuff together. A lot of late nights, but I enjoyed it. It did get to a point for me as a family man that it got hard to keep going with it. And I think the guys that came in after me have done a really good job. And I've not talked to Kyle in a little bit about it. I don't know what the plans are. I'm open. Hey, if they do run a big show and they want to, they need somebody to step in at the last minute, I wouldn't mind dusting it off once again and giving it a shot. But I learned so much about professional wrestling, working with AMW, and I learned a lot that helps me in other areas of life out of it too. It is a grind. It is a labor of love. You don't get into it. You don't do that stuff thinking that you're going to make any money. You do it because you love it. There's some money to be made, and there's times where we had good shows. There's times where we'd have a show in a church with a dozen people watching, and it was just, it is what it is. It's a grind, but I've always I really enjoyed my time there. If they need some help any other time, I probably won't be putting the ring together and running around doing all the stuff I used to. But if you need somebody to come in and throw some commentary down, I'd love to get back and give it another shot. My buddy Dwayne Adams says he wants to give some wrestling a shot sometime. Can you imagine that, CJ?
You and Dwayne doing wrestling? Yes, I can see that.
Could you imagine it? I'd pay to do it. No, I wouldn't. I better not give Kyle Maggard any ideas, because he'd charge me. Yeah. He'd charge me to do it.
Speaking of wrestling, there's a new organization that is going to start up this 2 weeks from Saturday, April 16th, at the Corbin Civic Center. APW. It's Alliance Pro Wrestling. A lot of former superstars from other organizations are going to be there. Shane Romines is I think the person that's running this. Henry Shaw, a lot of you know him. He's going to be on the show with me next week. Henry is going to talk about that on the show next week. I've done got him booked for the show to be a guest. We're going to talk about them starting up that new wrestling. But Nathan, you were there when they started from the ground up. How hard is it now compared to what I've seen? And what I've seen so far, if you don't got a lot of people helping you, it's extremely hard to run it, because you got to have people running music. People, you got to have referees. You got to have, it's just so hard now. If it's one or two people doing it, one person doing it, it's about impossible, but you get it done. But if you ain't got, how's it come so far from when you to now?
Well, I mean, there were nights, CJ, where I was the timekeeper, the ring announcer, the commentator, the interviewer. I was the one running the music. There are nights that that I did all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They did, if you get some help, and sometimes if you can get some, some guys who are wanting to break in and be a wrestler, you can get some trainees to come and help you with that. But it's a lot. It's a lot. I think, and if you're going from town to town, you're putting up a wrestling ring at every event too, and that takes a while, and that takes multiple people. It's hard. It's a hard job to do by yourself. So it's tough. It's tough. I would, if somebody, it would be nice for a promoter if they had, they're doing this Corbett Civic Center. When's this show?
April 16th. It starts at 7:30. It's a new. Okay. It's called Alliance Pro Wrestling. Actually, some of the wrestlers there, Henry Shaw is going to be the commissioner, but he's actually going to be wrestling that night because they're having a tournament to crown their first APW World Heavyweight Champion. But I even think Marty Clay is involved in this. I think he's actually wrestling that night. But we'll find out more on that next week when Henry comes on the show. We're going to get him to break it down for us. And Henry Shaw, I think a lot of people, Henry, he wrestled some at AMW.
Your mother's favorite pro wrestler is what your mother's favorite wrestler. That's what he says. I don't. But yeah, we've worked with. I've worked with Henry some in AMW. If this takes some capital, this takes some money. But if I were to, this is big time information right here, CJ. Okay, this is if Nathan Little were starting a wrestling promotion. This is what Nathan Little would do. From my vast experience, and by vast experience, I mean not really more than most people, but all the people who act like they know something about it that are complaining about WrestleMania and Cody Rhodes or whatever right now on Facebook, they can shut up. I have at least enough experience that I can tell them to shut up and listen to me. But what I would like to, if I were starting a wrestling organization, pro wrestling, I would want a venue that was mine. Here at Perry County, buy a building like Magic Mart or whatever. I don't know if that's still for sale or whatever, or if it's even an option, if the ceiling's high enough, but just say that that's your venue, and and in that venue, you put your ring in there and you leave it there. You keep everything clean. You get your lights, you get your cameras, and you set it all in place, and you can run high quality events.
Yeah.
That all look good and they all look consistent. And then you can make your TV show out of that. And then you could then you can go, maybe have a different ring, which would cost more money, even more money. But, if you look at WCW, WWE, they've got tons of rings, they have multiple rings. And, when WCW went out of business, they sold a bunch because, they were liquidating all their stuff, and WWE when they bought it, they had no use for these WCW rings that were different. So, and then, you build your TV tapings, your local shows. You don't sell as much. You don't charge as much to get into to those because you want, for like weekly events or whatever, you want to pack the place. You want to get as many people in there as possible. Get the crowd rowdy, whatever, and then you use that stuff to sell, to go out, put that out on Facebook, YouTube. If you got a TV show, put that out to sell your house shows when you go to these different communities, and then you have a big show every once in a while. And I think that would be, if I were going to do it, that would be the way that I would do it. And I think AMW was trying to do that with, they were running their TV tapings out of the Miller Family Fun Center. But they still had to go in there and set up the ring over and over again, and we had to set up cameras and stuff. every time. But no, I would, if I really wanted to do it, I would make sure I had enough money to go all in. Either lease a building, own a building, whatever, and make sure that it paid for itself. But that's hard. It's hard. It's hard to do. It's hard to.
I know.
People don't understand how hard it is. The first time I went, my first event was at Buckhorn, and we were, and I was going to be the ring announcer for that event. And I remember asking the promoter, I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and get some cards, some note cards together. And I want to know, who's wrestling who and what order it's going on the card. That way I can come prepared, ready to go. They're like, psh, psh. This was like a week or two before. They're like, no, we're not going to know that. We're not going to know who's wrestling who and what order it's in until right before the show. And then even then, it might change. And then even it might change in the middle of it. You just never know. You just never know. So people don't show up. People will show up and they'll say, "Oh yeah, I got to leave early. I got to do another show somewhere else." And then you have to put them on a different spot in the card. And I'm sure the AMW guys are listening. They don't want me telling any trade secrets here or anything, but I mean, whatever. Fire me. There was one show that I remember we had it was a big show. Like you're talking like a holiday, like a Thanksgiving show. And we had it planned out that the main event was going to be the championship match that we've been building up for a while. And we get there and this guy that's in the championship match says, "Hey, I got to leave early." Like, bro, you're in the main event. Like, you're in the main event. Like, what are you talking about? You got to leave early. He's like, "Yeah, I got to go somewhere. Thanksgiving, I got to go out." So they're like, "Well, okay, well, we'll have the championship match, first match of the night." And then we added in another match, a championship match to go in at the end of the night so we can end on a title match. And the guy who won it in the first match lost it at the end of the night, but that's what we had to do. That's what we had to do. We had if we wanted to put on a show and end it the way we wanted to end it, it had to happen like that. There was one time where and I always told them, as I'm going to blow some people's minds out there. If you're a child and you've not been smartened up, you're a pro wrestling fan, close your ears. Okay. I never, unless there was something I absolutely needed to know as a commentator, like if somebody was going to use an object and I had to make sure to mention that, or if somebody was going to, there was something I had to look for. I would want to know what to look for, but I didn't want to know who was winning or who was losing. I didn't want to know. I wanted to know as little bit about the match as I could. That way my reaction was as organic as possible. I wanted that. So there were things that I just didn't know were going to happen. And I had to act my way through it. There was one time where it was two guys had, they were like having a 30-minute Iron Man match or whatever, 30-minute time limit. And they wrestled the whole 30 minutes. It went to the time limit, bang, draw. And, the guy comes over, the heel comes over to me. He loses and he grabs the mic and he's like, listen here, buddy, I will come in there and whip you. You put 5 more minutes on this clock right now and I will do it. And, I don't know what's going on. I just know he's asking for 5 more minutes. And he's like, yeah, Nathan, tell him. I'm like, well, if you want 5 more minutes, you get in there. 5 more minutes. And I ring the bell. Thinking that's what was supposed to happen. Guess what, CJ?
That wasn't supposed to happen.
What was supposed to happen. He was supposed to say, "Oh, forget it," and then walk off. So,
I love it.
I ring the bell. He goes into the ring, and the other guy rolls him up 1, 2, 3, and it's and he wins. Whatever. So here we go. I think it's I think that's what was supposed to happen. I call it on the mic. Here's your winner, and then the booker comes out and he's like, "What in the did you just do?" And I'm like, what are you talking about? He said he wanted 5 more minutes. I gave him 5 more minutes. He says he was just trying to rile the crowd up. He wasn't supposed to get 5 more minutes. I'm like, well, what's it a big deal? And he's like, because the next match that goes up is supposed to be this, state record match or whatever. And the only thing that happens in this match is he sneaks up behind a guy and rolls him up and pins him 1, 2, 3. So here we go. We would have the same thing happen within 5 minutes of each other, back to back. A guy comes in the ring, rolls him up, it's over. Rolls him up, it's over. And I screwed it up. So they ended up they had to change that match with seconds to go. It was next on, and it was because I screwed it up. It is, it happens. It wasn't the only thing that I screwed up there in my time. If we want to talk about that, though, I'd be here all night. All the things that I've screwed up in wrestling over the years. Ask Bo James. Ask handsome Bo James. He can give you a highlight reel of things that I've screwed up in the world of wrestling.
I was watching one show the other night. I don't know what episode it was. He got to host it, and most of it was about him. And that was supposed to have been when he got you suspended from TV, but you come back the next week. You said the championship committee and but that's what made it. You're watching the show. That's what things like that were really good to watch. Getting to know the wrestlers was important for me because I didn't know a lot of these guys. I knew them from what I've seen them in the ring, but to get them known personally was an honor. And I hope we get to come back and do some more. There's a lot of people that love AMW wrestling out there, and they want to come to the shows. They love the shows, and I'm making a statement right now. Let's bring back AMW wrestling. They want it back, so hopefully somebody will hear us. If not, we'll keep trying to plug it, and we'll keep trying to make sure it'll happen.
Yeah,
Kyle,
I'm a big. Go ahead, CJ.
I just want to say I'm going to go ahead and give my final notes, and then I'm going to let you give your final thoughts. I want to thank everybody that watched the show. I want to thank everybody that left comments. I want to thank Ryan who called. I want to thank our guest. Courtney could not join us tonight. She had an internet problem, but I'm going to try to get her and John to both be on the show next week, so we'll see how that works out. I want to thank Josh. I want to thank Wallace. I want to thank Bobby for being here. Nathan, you've been off the charts. Guess what? If you got the time, you get another appearance to be my co-host next year. So write that in your books. But
okay, I will pencil it in. I'll pencil it in, and if I don't get it, I'm going to talk bad about you on the radio.
Well, you're going to get it. I promise.
I'll do it.
I'll be back with you next Sunday night for the season finale of the CJ Howard Show. Season 2 will come to an end next Saturday night or Sunday night. Excuse me. Episode number 31. My co-host is going to be Ryan Lemon from KRC. Also, as I told you, Henry Shaw is going to be with us talking about APW Wrestling, the new organization starting up, and we're going to ask you some wrestling questions. Also, the commissioner of the KHSAA is going to be with us next week. Julian Tackett is going to join me, and we'll have other guests and much, much more. I will be back with you right now, August the 7th. For season 3 of the CJ Howard Show. Season premiere will be August 7th. Tanner Hesterberg will be my co-host that night. We'll have some great guests too. Want to let everybody know that ahead of time. I'll announce that again next week. Also, want to let everybody know that if you have not went and saw my CJ Howard Show page, go put it in the search bar at Facebook. Go over, like it. I want you to like it. Then I want you to share it with other people so they can like it and be a part of the show. Or if I got a YouTube channel, if you go subscribe, that'll help me out too. We'll need to get some more people over subscribing to my channel. Hopefully that will help me do some more live stuff next year. All right, Nathan, give me your final thoughts.
I'm done. We'll see you later. No, I'm upset that Courtney didn't come on the show because I've not got to enter. I used to work at WYMT for several years there, and I have, just because of my job, working in media around here, I work with WYMT on a lot of stuff. And when I left, I was working with Marcus. I was working with eventually Willie, his time there. Worked with I've worked with John a little bit, letting him know for signings and talk to him about stuff here and there. So I'm typically always talking to John. I've not talked much with Courtney. But at my one interaction, really, my one main interaction with Courtney was at the All-A Championship, 14th Region All-A Championship. Breathitt County wins it. Here I am. I'm on the court for the radio, and she's down there, and she's trying to get John Noble for an interview. He just won. They're about to do the award ceremony, and she's got him, and she's got the camera up, about to ask a question, and I'm like, I've got the headset on, and they're like, "Hey, we're up in 10 seconds, 10 seconds," and I got 10 seconds go. I'm like, "Can I get him? Can I get him first? We're live. Yours is pre-recorded. I know they got to get back to the station. And record and edit it because a lot of people doesn't understand the what it takes to be a WYMT sports reporter, because they're all, typically they're going to go to something, they're going to record their stuff, then they're going to head back to the station, edit it, and try to get it on air for the show that night. And it's a grind, and people don't understand, especially like on football season on Friday nights, how they'll be like, okay, you get a game over here, first half, drive, get the second half, come back, do it, or go to a bureau or find a place to feed your highlights back. And people don't understand they do that all by themselves. There are whenever the phone rings in the sports office after sports overtime on a Friday night, nothing ever good comes from it. Someone's always it's never anybody calling to say, "I just want to know you guys had a great show tonight. Thank you. I just want to tell you about how much I appreciate you and your contributions and the things that you miss out on your life, family events, gatherings, holidays, mental health, all that good stuff." They don't do that. They call, "Hey, you didn't get that touchdown at the end of at the Knott County game. I'm upset. Why not? This is we won this game in overtime. Why weren't you there?" "Well, because the game ended at 10:45 in overtime, and we're back here getting ready for sports overtime. It's impossible for us." They get it, come back, they report the scores, and they do what they can. But no, it's it's a grind. But at the same time, I hope she understood that I was on the headset, and they're like, "You're up in 10 seconds." And I'm like, "Okay, can I get him live?" It has to, it's either me coming up, staring, longingly into the camera, killing time until she gets done with her interview or whatever. But I always wanted to give her a hard time about that, about how I stole the John Noble interview from her before she got to cut back and put in the rest of her day. But no, it's been a wild season, CJ. Like I said, I mentioned there's a parent that was aggravated with me earlier because they said that I didn't like their daughter. Whatever. It is what it is. There's a lot of moments like that in broadcasting. There's a lot of moments when you're anyone that puts themselves out there and in the media, or if you're a coach, there's a lot of criticism that comes with it. But man, just getting to have moments like this where you just sit down and talk to people, and there's no pressure, and or getting to see kids at their highest points, that today was my first day, first official day as a soccer parent. My little girl, she did under 8 soccer today. And, I found myself, just really taking it in. I was joking, I'm going to give the ref a hard time. I knew the ref after the game. I was like, man, you got to call that both ways, buddy. You got to call it both ways. And he's like, what are you talking? There was a play in this game where the kid was doing a throw in out of bounds and hit a kid in the face from the same team, busted his nose. He was bleeding, had to come off. And then they let him throw it back, and then they threw it back in. It's under 8. These kids, basically just run around and chase the ball and have fun or whatever. Well, after the game, I was like, dude, I saw it went off that kid's face. It should have been out of bounds off of them, man. It should have been. He's like, dude, I can't do that. I can't. We busted a kid's nose. I can't, but I just found myself taking it in and having fun. And because of that, I have a different appreciation for it. But my little girl, the team scored. She didn't score today, but the team scored a goal, and she was just running up the sideline, having fun. And I see so many of those, to have that moment with my kids. I know the parents want to have that moment for their kids too. As a broadcaster, it's always been I always took it as my duty to be as down the middle as I can be about anything. And some people think, man, I'm going to get myself in trouble tonight, CJ. But I mean, as we're going off the air, it's a good time to do it. You know what I mean? Everybody knows that I work at Perry Central. I don't broadcast it, no pun intended. I don't broadcast it when I'm on the radio. Everybody knows it. But to be you're in the media, and you're also you've also got relationships over in Leslie County, and to walk that line. But to be in the media, I had to turn in my fan card a long time ago. I had to turn in my fan card a long time ago. And it's kind of like wrestling. When you were little growing up and you're watching Stone Cold and you're watching Sting and versus the NWO, and it's so big and it's so awesome for you, but then you figure out how it works, and you've got a booker, and you've got producers, and you got a promoter who's doing this and that, and they're deciding what to do, and then the inner workings of it. Wrestling never has the same magic again. Once the cat's out of the bag, you can't get it back in the bag, and it doesn't have the same magic. Once you become a member of the media, if you do it the right way, unlike a lot of people that we see around here, you turn in that fan card. And so to me, when I hear the people say, my buddy Dwayne, Dwayne Adams, he said at the end,
yeah, great.
At the end of going into region tournament, he said, I've been hearing some people talking about you over here. And I'm like, oh God, what are they saying, Dwayne? What are they saying? And he said, no, he said that I've been talking to some Leslie parents, and they just love how you talk about the team. They love how you've been talking up the team and stuff this tournament on the radio. And I'm like, well, good, because that's what I want to do. I don't want to see kids do poorly. I want to see kids succeed. There's got to be one winner. You know what I mean? There's got to be a winner. There's got to be a loser. There are, and I wish that everybody in broadcasting had, felt it the same way about it. We mentioned it earlier that I have my kids that I teach. We teach media with. During the 14th region, we had so many people broadcasting each game. You had SGS, you had Bluegrass Sports Nation, you had Hometown 24, you had Commodore Nation. I think Powell County had their bunch that did video games too. So you have a lot of that stuff. Going on. And I would let my kids go back and listen the next day and we'd take like a 2-minute stretch of a game, and we would watch it on each different outlet just to see what they sounded like at different, at the same part of the game through different point of views. And you get a bunch of different stuff. And for me, I always took pride, and my voice always suffered for it. Is I just say, I'm just going to go wild for every single play as hard as I can, no matter what. I'm just going to give it all I got for every play for these kids. I had a parent come up to me this past week and said, I'm never going to be able to thank you enough for what you've done for my daughter this year, because just the way that you put her name out there, and, she doesn't necessarily score as many points as everybody else, but she plays hard, and you've noticed that. And that's the stuff that really makes it worth it for me. That's the stuff that makes it worth it for me, is the people who notice the things that we do out there to get kids' names out there. And look, for the people that think that I don't do a good job, look, I love you too. And I'll listen to what you have to say, and I'll make sure if I did get it wrong, then I'll get it right going forward. And that's what you got to do. That's what you got to do. One last thing though, I'll say that a lot of people don't know I also do, CJ, is for Perry County Central. I'm also the esports coach. And we're in the middle of the spring esports season right now. Leslie County's got an esports team. We played them earlier in the year in Super Smash Brothers Ultimate. We played them. It was a really close game. We won, but it was a close game. It went all three sets. So Breathitt County's got a team that's doing pretty good. So you guys be out there on the lookout for the esports kids. I think that gives kids a great opportunity, because a lot of those kids, if they didn't have the opportunity to be on this team, that they wouldn't be on a team. They wouldn't get that opportunity. They would not be on a team at all if they didn't have this. So they get their opportunity to put a jersey on, to be a part of a team, to work together, and a lot of these kids would be sitting at the house playing games by themselves, not interacting, but this gives them a chance to get out, get together with some other people with like interests, try to get better at something. I think competition in any form is good. Any type of competition is good and good for everybody. I'm pretty deep into the competitive esports. I'm actually running an event July 30th at the Corbin Civic Center. And before I got on here, I looked, and it's July 30th, and we've got 60 people signed up to compete already. I think when we get time for the event in July, I think we're going to have well over 200 people in there doing battle in esports when all is said and done. So shout out to the esports folks. Thank you, CJ. Man, you have had I'll be watching next week, but you've had such a great season on the show this year. Tons of guests from all over the place, and you are the only one that can do this, buddy. You are the only one capable of putting this together. I tried to do this type of show like this, and I wanted to do it as well as I could. I probably didn't have the time to put into it that I'd like to have, but if I could have got the guests that you did, and if I could have and been as consistent and as devoted to it as you have promoting it, I would have considered it a wild success, and I consider your season here a wild success. And I know you're going to end next week on a great note.
Thank you, Nathan. I appreciate that very much. It's hard work. You think you gotta get the people together, you gotta get your co-host. But I love doing it, and I want to thank you again for being part of it. Do not leave me until we're when we go off the air. I just want to say something to you off the air when we're not live. Again, I'll remind everybody, I'll be back with you next Sunday night, season finale of the CJ Howard Show. This is CJ Howard, rounding third, heading for home. Good night, everybody. God bless you. We'll see you next Sunday night for the season finale of the CJ Howard Show.